Hi, Curran.
Hey, good morning, Connor. How are you?
Not too bad, not too bad. Can't complain. How's things with you over in London?
Yeah, not too bad. Looking forward to getting back home, I have to say.
Oh,
Yeah, just for the benefits of everyone on this webinar, I'm originally from Northern Ireland, but I live over in London. So, yeah, looking forward to getting back home for Christmas.
back to the nice bleak weather.
Yeah, well, I'm used to that. Unfortunately, it's not much better here, if I'm honest.
No, no. Well, not that you can get outside at the minute anyway, but
Well, this is true,
yeah.
but yeah. Well, look, thank you very much for joining us, Connor. This is for the benefit of everyone who's here with us this morning. We're doing a joint webinar between Tilt and ourselves at RentProfile, and this is the first in kind of a series of webinars. So I think today Connor's going to be asking myself a few questions, then I'll be returning the favor with him or Kate at Tilt. And in terms of the format and structure of today, if you do have any questions as we sort of go through this, please by all means list them on the side, and Yona or Amy from RentProfile will flag it to us, let us know, and we'll do our best to answer those questions at the end of the session. Tilt is a partner of ours. We integrate directly into their software, their lettings CRM software. But Connor, maybe you're better to introduce yourself and a little bit about Tilt.
Yeah, so I am one of the business development executives here. You'll meet the other Kate in one of the subsequent webinars. But for the purpose of this, we'll be talking about our Origin software. It's really geared towards the letting agents and the rental sector. And like you said, it's sort of end-to-end management of the CRM side of it. So managing your day-to-day, logging any tenancies you have or some certificates against properties. But we're looking forward to our integration with yourselves at RentProfile.
Terrific. And just for anyone who didn't follow my previous webinar, my name is Curran. I'm the commercial lead at RentProfile. So I manage our agency partnerships and the business development side, which includes working with the guys at Tilt. So yeah, have you got some questions for me, Connor?
Yeah. I will start out nice and easy. Easy into it. So if you wanna just tell us what RentProfile is.
Sure. So RentProfile is a technology company that powers trust and convenience for the rental market. And so what that means, Connor, is two things really. What we're known for is our tenant referencing. So compared to what you would describe as the more legacy companies in this space that are quite analog or manual in their process, our tenant referencing checks are around 5 times faster. So typically around 95% of them will be returned within a 24-hour period. And a lot of the questions that we sort of get asked as a result of that are you kind of doing just a very light touch sort of check? Is it basically an identity check and a credit check? And the answer is no. So we do twice as many checks, get a lot more data off the back of that. And because of that kind of extra nuggets of information, what we start to see is anywhere between 15–20% more tenants are passing, which is good news for the tenants, it's good news for the agents and the business, and helps to speed things along. And then more recently, in the last couple of weeks, we've launched our new product, onboarding, which recently won an award from Visa, and it's really the kind of full pre-tenancy management.
Okay.
So that moment, Connor, right from when a tenant sort of agrees to take the property, we sort of automate the process after that. So everything from agreeing the agency terms, referencing criteria, taking the holding deposit, dynamic AST with custom clauses. Maybe there's a garage or parking or bills included. Signing of that, uploading the certificates, paying the first month's rent, and with the TDS, we're actually building in an integration to be able to kind of register the tenancy deposit automatically. So for the agent, it really is a no-brainer of just being able to kind of sit back, hit go, and just watch that process be streamlined. They can kind of go win new business.
Absolutely, yeah. But whenever I was researching RentProfile, one of the things that jumped out at me that I'm sure the letting agents would be apprehensive about was the fact that maybe if you're pushing them through this process so quickly that RentProfile can do, that the tests aren't maybe as in depth. But
Yeah.
Absolutely, they're you said they're twice as many checks, or
Right.
yeah. But the story of how it got how you sort of came about, how RentProfile came about was quite interesting. I caught one of your YouTube videos about the founder. He was subject to a scam, or
That was exactly it. So David, one of the co-founders, had effectively paid for a property, paid over the kind of move-in money, the rent and deposit, to a landlord that didn't exist. And actually that happens quite often. So what he kind of set around to do, being an engineer, was build a solution that would kind of flip that traditional process, allow you as a tenant to go, I'm going to run some checks on this landlord and actually check, do they own the property? You know, do they have a license? If they need a license, and sort of anti-money laundering checks as well. So that's kind of how RentProfile started, and we won, you know, we have a Gov UK showcase on that. I'm working with companies to do it, and it really expanded from there, using the same kind of, okay, what's the approach that we can take, you know, if we were to start this process again with tenant referencing.
yeah.
And that's really what happened, and that's why it's kind of different, because it's been built from the ground up.
Exactly, it's sort of been built from a problem that wasn't being solved. But
yeah,
I know it's very interesting. But sort of, you know, everyone's talking about this, you know, new normal, and you know, maybe many people aren't talking about the rental sector. But sort of, what do you think the the real initial and current problems are with the rental sector, brought about by the coronavirus and the lockdown?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question. I think the initial problem certainly was the uncertainty. I mean, nobody knew what kind of results, what this would mean, sort of short term and longer term, and everybody had to adapt very, very quickly. I think there was this sort of sudden shift to remote working, and that means remote viewings as well, or video viewings, and remote tenancy progression as well. And I think that's, you know, it's a pretty large adjustment for any industry, but it's a particular shock to one that relies so much on kind of face-to-face communication and business dealings. And I think as that settled slightly, the dust settled, and certainly second lockdown, you know, offices have been able to open slightly. I think what we're beginning to see is the ramifications of COVID a little bit, which is more and more renters leaving for the suburbs, for the satellite towns. I mean, I've had that conversation with my girlfriend. We're weighing it up about whether we stay in London. And that sort of in particular raises questions, I think, for the build to rent sector, because so many of them are kind of concentrated in the major cities. But with the news of the vaccine recently, the question in my mind is whether that trend kind of reverses. So what are we going to start to see more tenants kind of move back to the city when, you know, if you take somewhere like London, where such an important part of it is the culture and the amenities and the nightlife, in my view, you're probably going to see more of those kind of young, diverse, entrepreneurially minded demographic. They're going to come back again. So I think that letting agents now have been kind of thrust into very much into the remote working side. Some have kind of had the processes in place to do that, and others I think are increasingly having to adapt in quite a pace. And you probably find the same.
No, absolutely. And it's almost beneficial for the ones like us in the PropTech industry, that we can provide these solutions to people. And like yourself, it's people have realized that PropTech is quite important, and why not take these processes that you've built forward into the post new normal maybe. But no, absolutely, I agree with everything you said. Have you, just moving on from that, do you think that PropTech has helped the letting agents adapt to the new normal? How has it helped them adapt? Or?
Undoubtedly, it has. I mean, from any aspect of it, Conor, right from using Vuber, to kind of outsource your viewings, through the whole tenancy progression piece, right through to companies like the Depository, which is automating that kind of backwards and forwards of deposit disputes and returns. I think it really has changed the process a lot. So a lot of agents were using maybe one or two bits of PropTech to kind of enhance a little part of their process, and now are looking more at solutions like that tie that up, sort of tie the process together, link to their CRM, and allow them to kind of have a single source of truth. But absolutely, the kind of take up and the interest certainly that we're seeing has skyrocketed.
I was reading something a a few days ago, and now I must admit that this was provided by a company that specialized in remote viewing, so they may be a bit biased, but they imagined that in a few years, by I think they said 2025, that physical viewings would be a thing of the past. But it's just, it's one little, like you said, it's one little detail of how coronavirus has shifted the whole sort of, the operation of the letting agents, and how this is going to change their processes going forward, not just now.
Yeah.
But saying that, a lot of people, when they take up this new technology, I know myself, whenever I was taking up Zoom at the start, I cursed it, and I couldn't get my head around it, and it was a lot longer. It took me a lot longer to get my head around it than I care to admit. But what's your client feedback been so far? And do you think now that people have had a chance to use this through one lockdown and then maybe another lockdown, that their perception of PropTech has changed any? Or
yeah, I think so. I mean, the one thing I've noticed is when we're sort of doing demos to new clients, they know what Zoom is, which a year ago wasn't the case. They're going, "What's this kind of remote demo software?" Now everybody knows it, and they're teaching me things. So I think everybody's had to adapt, as you say, for better or for worse. But I suppose from the agent side, we're just seeing everybody's a bit more receptive now. And I think things that had previously been sort of in the in tray and not necessarily a priority right now have suddenly been kind of pushed to the top. But I also think agents are quite savvy, so they're not just kind of jumping into bed with tech or whoever does a hard sell to them. They're sort of looking at the options, and as you say, there are plenty of them. It's just really finding which ones sort of are there for the speed, the efficiency, and kind of tie up with their existing process, because nobody wants to sort of tear up the process. They just want to make it more streamlined. So yeah, we're seeing a big take up. I think that's going to continue, and I think more and more agents, as soon as you try something, as soon as you kind of give it a trial, then actually you stick with it.
Well, especially if it can help you going forward. There's a difference between sort of surviving during this lockdown and picking up something that will help you get through it, and then every so often you're going to pick up something that you think to yourself, why not take this forward? This has made things so much better for me, so much better for the business, and it is going to help. Like, not to go back to the stats, but you said that your tests have increased approval rating by 20%. That can't be anything but positive for the agent, and the fact that it speeds up the whole sort of onboarding side of things is just another added benefit. So every so often you will pick up something that you will keep on, and
this bit. And you want to be thriving, not just surviving. And I think a lot of this software can sort of help you do that. I mean, we're seeing some of the agents that are getting in touch with us now, they're referencing is taking up to a week in some cases. Now, by definition, a tenant can't move into the property. The landlord wants to confirm, that they can afford it and they are who they say they are. So this is just helping avoid periods as well. So it is one of those things. I think you get a bit hooked once you try some of these software.
No, but I agree. The whole time saving aspect of it is massive now, especially in the rental market. The way things have gone, everyone wants things immediately, and the whole sort of tenancy onboarding was maybe something that people just accepted, long delays in the past, but there's no reason to sort of deal with that, is there? If something can fix that and it does the job, great.
Exactly. Yeah. We're getting that attitude. So yeah.
No, it's great. Well, this question might be a bit harder. I'm going to have to ask you to look into your crystal ball here. So what would be your predictions for the lettings market? You touched on a few points that you think people will come back into London and it will return, but have you any sort of?
Yeah, it is very difficult to say now. I think it really depends on how quickly the vaccine's rolled out. But I suppose my longer term prediction, and what we're starting to see with a couple of our agents, is that, look, an agent who might have been based in, say, where I am in Walthamstow in East London, normally would have served that area and maybe a couple of postcodes around it. You're not really seeing that anymore. Those agents are going, well, where is the business? And it might be a little further out in sort of Chingford or other areas around London. And because of PropTech, they're able to serve that a bit more efficiently, not just on the letting side and the remote viewings, for example, but even with property management and maintenance. So I think what you're probably going to see more of, whether or not my prediction is right and tenants do kind of not quite flood back into London, but maybe the flood out stops, I think more agents are going to be able to serve kind of a wider geographic, and that can only be a good thing. Local knowledge in the local area, I think, is really, really important and really crucial. But having the tools to be able to sort of expand that a bit is good for business, in my view. So I think you're going to see a lot more of that. Whether or not there's more consolidation in the industry, I mean, I think Countrywide turned around and told Connells no about them merging, but I think other agencies that are again serving a region might look to consolidate as well.
Yeah. No, it's a good point, and everyone, harps on about the world getting smaller through, the interconnectivity of the technology. But again, the letting agents and the rental market is something that was maybe, it's based on sort of a lot of tacit knowledge that a lot of it is in people's heads, and they don't look out. And this technology has then sort of allowed them to broaden their horizons, and you don't have to be there almost physically. As the world has turned sort of virtual, and we're able to have this meeting now where maybe in the past one of us would have had to go to London. It does allow people to broaden their horizons and move out of their not comfort zone, but they're almost their known zone. The place right in front of their eyes. But that's a good prediction.
I think so. I think those skills, as you say, the ones that are really useful and where an agent adds value, those are kind of applicable across any geography.
Yeah,
it's really just more on the admin side, or like, how would I know a contractor, in that postcode or in that area? And if tech can give you the ability to do that, but you're kind of freed up to give that service and that expertise, it's a big opportunity in my view.
No, I agree. Yeah, completely. If you can find a technology that allows you to leverage your skills and to apply them in areas that your skills are most valuable, writing up contracts and pushing a tenant through the onboarding process, it's not exactly what sets a good letting agent apart from maybe an average letting agent. And if we can give these letting agents the ability to really shine and use their skills in the area that sets them apart and helps them grow, then all the good for it.
Absolutely, I agree on that.
Yeah, I think it's
terrific,
very beneficial.
Well, did you have any other questions for me, Conor, or should we put it out to the audience?
Yeah, I think they'll be able to think of some better ones than me. I've used up all my my bank of questions now.
No worries. All right, well, I'll switch the camera off here and I'll check and see what we've got.
No problem. Good to talk to you.
And you too. We've got a couple of questions come through here, so I'll read them out, and then obviously, Conor, if you want to kind of jump in with your answer, your thoughts as well. I'll start with the one from Marina. So Marina says, just getting this up here, does that include the signing of the tenancy agreements for onboarding? Yes, it does, Marina. So one of the steps, the key steps after the tenant pays over that holding deposit, is digitally signing the ASTs. So that is either the agent themselves, if they've selected that, and the tenants that are named on the tenancy agreement. But also we have an option, a toggle right at the beginning when you're setting up that onboarding process, to add the landlord as a signatory as well. And sort of what that means is it will go to the landlord, because some of our agents require that too. So the kind of key thing about onboarding is it's really customizable, because every tenancy is slightly different or slightly nuanced. We kind of put that flexibility in place. Hopefully that answers your question.
I should add that DocuSign is a feature that is available within Origin as well. I'm sure Marina knows that. So, the next question was interested in virtual viewings, virtual opening and closing inventories, and the costs related to that. Okay, the virtual viewings, obviously, Origin, we can't do it for you. We have features when you're marketing your property, you can add the virtual viewings to that in the property field, and that is included within the price. And the virtual opening and closing inventories, That's an interesting area within the PropTech as well. We enable integrations with a company called Inventory Hive, and that's really their speciality. Sort of developing quite comprehensive reports on your opening and closing inventories, and sort of easing the end of tenancy, really. So there's no arguments, and you can fly through that. But the costs related to that are all quite clearly laid out in our website. The integrations don't come at much more of a cost.
The one thing I would add there, Denise, is we work quite closely and watch this space. In a week or two, we should have an integration with Viewer. Viewer is, for those of you who don't know it, is a kind of it's like an on-demand viewing inspection service. So it's self-employed viewers, as they call them. And in effect, if, for example, a tenant requests a viewing, you can kind of book a viewer as an agent and ask them to sort of take the tenant through it. They write up the notes, they write up the full report, and they send it back to you. So it's a really good sort of on-demand service if you're short-staffed or if you're not in the office and so on. And, we've got good feedback from them. So, and I just want to jump in here because Marina, I noticed, had another question, Conor, which was further to that. Does the software, presuming you mean onboarding a RentProfile here, accommodate for the changing of utilities? We don't, Marina, and I'll tell you why. So a lot of kind of tenant referencing companies will sort of they'll do it quite cost effectively. They'll charge very cheaply, but what they're doing is sort of monetizing the tenants for that kind of changeover to your council tax or your utility bills, and we find that sort of. So the questions we get asked is, how do we do this so quickly? And a lot of it is kind of engaging tenants in trust. They need to be able to trust us to use open banking. They need to be able to trust us to kind of go through that flow. And we make it explicitly clear that we're not kind of monetizing their details or selling them on. And so, yeah, that's kind of part and parcel of how we managed to get things done so quickly as well.
There was another one. I'll leave this one up to you, Curran. Where does technology fall short in the rental market?
Good question. Really good question. I think where it falls short is on the human bits. So the bits that technology does really, really well, in my view, are your admin work. It's your kind of registering deposits. It's taking payments. It's all the stuff that doesn't really get any value from having a human touch. The bits that are kind of crucially important and that actually property technology allows you to focus more on are the parts where you're negotiating a price with a tenant, or you're kind of returning that deposit, and actually it's managing the expectations of the landlord with trying to get the money back for the tenant. Those are tasks that really involve a skill of a lettings administrator or a negotiator. And I think crucially, you want the technology to do the heavy lifting for the, what I would call the boring bits, and allow you to focus on where you really add value as an agent.
Yeah, no, I agree completely. Really sort of, as we said earlier, that if technology can enable the letting agent to apply their skill in areas that are going to add the most value, and there's no point people within the market wasting their time doing the boring, mundane admin stuff, like you said. So
exactly.
It's really any areas that are open to automation should be automated. So
that's our view. Look here. So Marina's got another question there. Just to add on to your comment regarding DocuSign, do we have to maintain a separate subscription for DocuSign? No, Marina. So onboarding, every aspect of that pre-tenancy process, we wrap it up in one single cost. So that kind of gives you a lot of transparency over it. So right from the tenant agreeing the agency terms, whether they do it on our mobile app, whether they do it online on the web app, through the referencing process, we don't take any card payments for them paying over the holding deposit or bank transfer payments or charges. We don't charge you for DocuSign. And if you're with the TDS, what we have coming very, very soon, and it's really exciting, and again, no cost to you, feature, is that we can auto-register the tenancy deposits. So what that means is the tenant pays over the first month's rent and the deposit, whether it's custodial or insurance, we'll ping the TDS, ask them to register that and kick out the prescribed information to you, the tenant and the landlord. It's all about that trust and convenience. You just kind of get on and let more properties.
I'm not sure if Marina maybe if you were asking about Origin, you need a subscription for DocuSign to enable that integration. Philip, who do I need to contact regarding this? It looks as if I've missed this for some reason. I would like to have a look at how it actually works. Thanks.
Well, I think we've got the same question actually, really from Tom and Philip. 100%. What we'll do is we'll sort of follow up after the webinar with you both, and we can talk through the process. Yeah, we have a free trial, and obviously we're integrated directly into Tilt. So yeah, 100%. We'll pick up that conversation.
Tom, would I be able to trial your products? So
yeah, as I say, same thing. We're going to get in touch afterwards, and we can have that discussion. Marina's asking what is Origin.
Sorry, I think Marina must be one of our Elevate clients. Origin it's another property management system quite similar to Elevate. So apologies for that. Emily again with another good question. What do you think are the top priorities for tenants in 2021?
For tenants, that's a good question. I think from the sort of build to rent sector, you are seeing tenants look more, if they're kind of thinking, I'm going to be renting for a long time, they're willing to pay that extra money. That's what I've seen, you know, for the service, for the longer term tenancies, for the better outcomes. Sorry, gents, by the way, my next door neighbor is getting a Nest doorbell installed. So if you hear any drilling in the background, that's what that is. But I think, yeah, tenants are just kind of taking a sort of attitude here where they're willing to invest more time and effort in their properties. But yeah, and apps as well. Increasingly, you're seeing tenants do everything digitally. Every other part of their life, from banking to their work, it's all, we can prove everything's done remotely. So, and we have a renters app, and the majority of our renters use that for the pre-tenancy journey. It's faster, it's more convenient. I think you're going to see more and more of that. What do you think, Conor?
Yeah, I think the rental market will grow. I think it's already remained quite steady at the minute. One of our, if somebody wants to check it out, Kate, one of our other business development executives, did a very comprehensive review of the rental market. So it is quite promising. I think more and more people will move to the rental market. I think there's somewhat sort of a drop of the stigma that was once maybe associated with it. Now more and more young professionals, like you said, are moving to the rental market just to maintain that flexibility, and then that's being mirrored with the amount of tech that's flooding into it, that, you know, people are demanding this, and, you know, we're here to sort of help them through that journey as the demands within the market change. So like you said, the tenants will be demanding more from, you know, us in the PropTech field, facilitated by the letting agents.
Yeah. I have another question from Marina. Do we have to undergo training for RentProfile, and is there an additional cost for this? Marina, you don't, although we do offer that. It is a very, very straightforward setup. So there's literally one page. It's a cloud-based system. You can log in from anywhere, and you simply add the details about the tenancy, things like the start date, the rental amount, you know, little toggles about whether the property includes a garden, or you allow pets, or maybe council tax is included, but you know what, the tenant's responsible for the electricity and the gas. That creates the tenancy, and we automate the process following that. So everything is taken care of. You set it, you forget it, and we kind of push the tenancy along.
I should say for Marina, currently this integration is limited to our Origin feature, but you know, it will be coming to Elevate, so don't worry about that.
Tom asked, how long does it take to set up? Tom, no time at all. As I say, we can set you up an account literally within 10 minutes. It's branded to your agency. It's cloud-based, so you simply log in with your email address and your password, and then you're ready to request sort of reference checks and push through tenancy. If you're already an Origin client, you're ready to go.
Yeah. Let's see. Give it a few more minutes, see if anyone else has any more.
Yeah. Anyone have any final questions?
No. Is there a subscription?
Not for RentProfile. We're very confident that you'll engage and like using our products. We're a pay-as-you-go product. There's no contracts. You opt in or opt out as you like.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much for joining us this morning, everyone. And I'll make sure to follow up. We'll send a recording of the webinar to you, but we'll also follow up individually with those who are interested and explain a little bit more about the products in detail. So thank you very much, and thank you to you, Conor.
No problem. And we'll hopefully
we're in Northern Ireland.
Absolutely, yeah. Hopefully things open up a bit. No, so hopefully we will see everyone for episode 2, where Curran will be doing my job and asking Kate some. Oh, there's a few more minutes.
Thank you. So thank you very much. Yeah, absolutely. This time next week, I'll be the one asking the questions to Kate at Tilt. So hopefully you can join us then.
Yeah, and then episode 3. That's after that. That's when the pints.
Yeah, exactly. Great. Well, look, thanks again, everyone. Enjoy your week.
Okay.
Take care, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.